Hilberg, the Video Foot Doc, here with another video for you on all things foot and ankle. Today I'm going to talk about some of the causes of a very common location where people have pain in their feet, and that is the outside of the foot. Depending on the location along the outside of the foot where the pain is at, there can be multiple different causes. Looking at this foot model, we'll start talking about some of the various locations on the outer side of the foot that people can experience pain in, as well as what some of the more common causes of that pain can be. If there is pain along the outside of the little toe, either on top or along the side, often the most common cause of this is simply due to a contraction of the toe, in which the toe is actually rotated upward and inward a little bit. And we call this a hammer toe, and it also has another special designation called an adductovarus rotation, in which the toe is rotated inward. And many people have this shape of toe, and it's very common. The problem is that as that toe is rotated and contracted, it can basically get irritated by the shoe or even sometimes a sandal strap if the strap fits across that area, and that can cause skin irritation, which can also cause corn formation to develop, and sometimes even the bone underneath can become irritated as well. If you go a little bit further down towards the base of the toe, another common cause of pain at that location is something called a tailor's bunion. At the base of the toe there is a head of a bone called the fifth metatarsal, and along this head there can be a prominence against the side or the outer side of the toe. When this prominence is more excessive than it should be in most all feet, this prominence is called a tailor's bunion. And when tailor's bunion is present, it's basically the same as a bunion on the other side of the foot that most people traditionally associate with as being a traditional bunion, in which there is pain against the base of the big toe. Well, on this other side, on the outer side of the foot, the same process can occur, in which either the side of this fifth metatarsal head is either too big, or the fifth metatarsal itself is swung too far outward, and that causes this prominence against the side of the foot. Most cases of pain developing from this condition are usually due to shoes that don't fit properly and actually end up rubbing against the skin and causing skin irritation, as well as irritation to the bone in the joint below that. If you go a little bit further back towards the more the middle part of the foot, where there's also another little natural prominence that you can feel if you run your finger along the outer side of your foot, several different conditions can cause pain at this location. If one has most recently had an injury or a twisting type injury, sometimes there's a fracture that occurs at this spot. There's a couple different types of fracture patterns that can occur. A lot of times there can be a fracture across the base of this bone, something called a Jones fracture, which is usually a pretty significantly painful fracture, and one that people tend to notice as soon as they injure it. More subtle fractures can also occur, green stick fractures and other things that aren't necessarily completely through the bone and may not be more readily apparent until later on after one has walked on it for a little while. Also, this little bump right here is called the styloid process, and at the base of this bone it's sort of like a little extension or nub that comes outward. And a tendon can attach to this area, and sometimes if there's a twisting injury, that tendon can actually shear off some of that bone and cause a fracture that way. Another source of pain that can be found at this site, which is much more common than the fracture, is to actually have tendonitis or tendon inflammation develop to the tendon that attaches to the base of that bone. This tendon is called the peroneus brevis tendon, and there's also another tendon that kind of runs along with it that actually dives underneath the foot just before it reaches the base of this bone. That can also have tendonitis and become inflamed, in which one can feel pain sort of in that general area. Both of these tendons can often become inflamed and irritated for a wide variety of different reasons, and are a very common source of pain to the outer side of the foot. If the pain is a little bit further back, more towards the, not quite to the ankle joint, but sort of more closer to the top of the foot, a couple different conditions can cause that. If one looks at this bone model, if you can see, there's a little hole that sits down through here in between the heel bone and the bone that comprises the bottom portion of the ankle joint. And this little hole is called the sinus tarsi, and it contains a sensitive nerve and some other tissue that can become inflamed through a wide variety of different reasons, most commonly due to compression because of flattening feet. And so inflammation in this space can create a sort of a very vague general pain that one can experience along the outer side of the top of the foot near the ankle. If one also has a flat foot, sometimes due to the compression of the foot onto part of the, or near the ankle bone on the outer side, this, you can develop pain and inflammation in a condition called impingement syndrome, which can also create a sort of a similar type of pain in a very vague area around the side of the foot near the ankle. If the pain is actually around the ankle itself, a number of different things can cause this as well. Certainly ankle sprains are painful in this vicinity, and one usually would recall if they've sprained their ankle or not. The tendons that I mentioned previously also run down behind the ankle bone on the outer side and run down into the foot to where they attach on that spot that I was discussing. Now these tendons can also become inflamed and irritated, painful anywhere where they run, which can be from this part of the foot all the way up around the ankle itself, and sometimes even further up towards the muscle belly in the leg. And a common source of pain around the ankle is actually tendonitis of the tendons that I talked about before, but tendonitis in which involves the tissue a little bit further back. On less common occasions, the tendons can also shear off a piece of the bone that they sort of run behind along the ankle, and as that bone piece is sort of shorn off and essentially fractured off, pain, inflammation, and instability of those tendons can also develop, and the tendons, instead of staying behind the bone, can sometimes slip over the top, and that can cause discomfort and pain. Well, these are typically the most common causes of pain on the outer side of the foot. There's lots of different treatment options available for each specific condition. There's more information on each of these specific conditions on my website at www.inpodiatrygroup.com, and if you click on the Learning tab, you can go to a page that will explain many of these conditions. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please look for more videos on this topic as well as others on this website as well as other websites, or you may check out once again my website at www.inpodiatrygroup.com.